Hey guys, in this video we're gonna be doing a booking setup into our Adalo app. The twist with this booking is I want to have an options to set up whether a booking is a recurring type, like if it's a weekly or a fortnightly or monthly, and also setup of like the number of occurrences. Let's say I want it to be 20 times or like 20 it generate 20 booking. So let's say let's set up the participant's name, and then I'm gonna put the support worker email address. Actually, I'm gonna make this one as a drop down, and then let's say the shift date would be 25. Let's just make it May. Still May. What I don't really like about Adalo is it doesn't have a component for the time. Like I prefer to have just a time instead of start and date. There might be a workaround that I can do in this, but for now, let's just focus on making the recurring work. And then say May, then let's make that 9 p.m. Okay, and then I want it to be weekly. This should be a drop down. We can set up a database for a recurring type and then list down the types of recurring, if it's like if it's just not a recurring, like a one time or a weekly, fortnightly, custom, or monthly, we can do that, but it needs to have a different database collection. And then for the number of occurrences, let's just make it 3 and then create a rooster. Okay, when you go into the Adalo database and click on the rooster, you'll see that we have set up, there is a like number 2, which is fine. I'm gonna delete this one, just test it out. And I haven't really run the make yet. So this is the one that we created. And then in the make, if you want to know how you can connect your Adalo API, I have a separate tutorial on that. I created a scenario in here. Again, before you create a scenario, you need to connect your Adalo API. So I call the scenario called Adalo recurring rooster. And then in here, let me just change this history to the maybe 520. Yeah, that one. So I created first trigger is a watch records, and then I created I added a repeater. In the repeater, initial value is 1, and you can also set 0 if you want, so it doesn't gonna trigger. And then it repeats the number of occurrences. So basically we map this field there, number of recurrences, that one, to the repeater. And then I added another Adalo add record, and in the Adalo add record I again map those things up. So I map the field. So assign support worker, and then in the shift date, I used an if statement. Actually, we need to use a router on this, but I'm gonna show it to you on the next video. Let's just focus on the weekly for now, and then if you want me to create a separate video about the router, I'll create a separate video for that, to just separate the weekly and then the monthly, like the different type of recurring. Actually, this is not the right version. Let me just jump into the, I think 527. Let's see. Okay, yeah. So again, I have a watch records repetitor, and then here in the add record, I map up the fields. Move that there. So assign support worker, and then in the shift care I set if, and by the way, all of this thing in here can be found. So if you're adding things, let's say you want to add an if statement, you can just search that if, put it there, like you drag it there like that, and it already provided you the like formula. And then let's say if the shift is shift, you drag it there. Oh, okay. Oops. So something like that, shift, and then you add something like is equals to. So that's how you pre-filled the formula. So what I have set up in my shift date is if the recurring type, I map the fields from Adalo. This is a database database table. So if the recurring type is equal to weekly, then I want to add days on the shift date, and then multiplied it to the index. So when you set index, this one is corresponded to the repetitor, okay? And if you want to remove, let me just remove that. We don't need that. Okay, now let's try to run the this formula, the workflow that I created, because this is set up as drop right now. So I'm gonna run the one that we just added earlier. So click run or 2, and then if we go back to the Adalo database, here database, you'll see that there is 2 accounts that is like added. We can make this one untriggered, so because we added 2 occurrences, so it shouldn't be 3, so we can polish that later. But as you notice, it's 2nd of May and then 9th of May and then 16th of May, which we are correct. Okay, now with regards to, maybe we can add, let me just add a router here. If you want to add a router, by the way, you can just simply go in here, actually there. Let's just add a router there. So you go into this one, like any of this, and then you right click, and then you click, let's say, add router, and let's say this one is condition statement, and then in the router I'm gonna add plus. So this one is, this Adalo is the weekly one, and this one is a this one is the fortnightly. So in the fortnightly, it's still the same process. You can just copy all of this, and you can also, oh sorry, you can also add some if statements, so it won't gonna trigger both of the router, they won't gonna trigger. So you can add a conditional statement in here, like more into, oops, let's delete that. So here you can add a conditional statement, like if recurring, let's see, if the recurring type is equals to weekly, actually I need to move this here. Let's remove this condition statement. We can put the conditional statement in here, filter, so weekly, and then if the weekly type is equals to weekly, this Adalo up to records will trigger. And if it is fortnightly, recurring type, this Adalo will be triggered. Now let's just remove this one. Oops, let's save this one first. I haven't really done thing here, but we can just copy the value here and just change the weekly to the fortnightly. Refresh. And then again, make sure you remove that. You don't need that filter. Okay. So if it is weekly, then this add records will trigger. If it's fortnightly, this will trigger. You can add more router there if you want, maybe monthly, or if it's just a one time. You can always delete it if you want. So yeah, that's how it works. But unfortunately, you need to have a paid version in this because Adalo doesn't require you to connect your custom Adalo API if you're using free version in Adalo. So you need to have a paid version. Feel free to sign up for free there. And if you need help with Adalo, you can always reach out to me using the link description below as well. Thank you and have a great day.